Yes.
Yeah.
Are we recording now?
We are recording.
Yes. Yes.
So today we got some pretty good, awesome questions and awesome ideas here coming in with our first part. The thank yous and the greetings of people. There's a pre-contact and post-contact stuff along with our cultural norms along with this comes into play. So one of the big key factors in on this first part is Lushootseed did not really have your welcome in the language. It was non-spoken, and if it was spoken, it was more like, don't worry about it. It was nothing. No. Let's not talk about that, right? Because if the person's trying to be humble, and you got to be humble when you're using the language. And as far as this stuff is concerned, we have it due to the factor that there are people who want to say it. And if you're going to say it and then use it, by all means, here is the stuff we have for you for that purposes. But remember, the cultural and language go hand in hand. They're so working together. And remember that the culture and language combined, the thank yous, the pleases, all of that stuff is not said and non-spoken, but when you translate it into the language, it is there. So even if I say abit chapat hal safhal, right? Or I go abit chapat safhal, it's still, will you please hand me the pen or pencil, right? It probably may be due to the urgency of the sound on when you're asking for the pen, whether if you need it right then and there, or if it's just like kind of a thing. But that's where you'll come out in the language on how they sound like, whether if you need to get to them faster or slower, or if it's at its time to get there. The nuances of the language and culture, you'll figure out that there's harmonious actions there. And then the most so this next one, you're welcome, and that is this first one. I didn't put it on there. Should look like this, right? Right. This is also not said. This is not spoken. Got the zero with a line through it. No. So whole chop. Whole chop. Or esbalits.
Aspalit.
Mm-hmm.
Or aspalit.
Aspalit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And given what we are talking about, you could say a slow bill, right? A slow bill. Or you can separate out the root and use or globe. Globe. Mm-hmm. Or slow bill, depending on what you want to use in your context. Lushootseed has options. This is where when you take a linguistics course, they're going to say Lushootseed is very optional based. It is really, really the user or the speaker's how much detail they want to give as a speaker. More detail you get it, the more focused in on that part of an item you are, or the less spoken.
When is this used?
That is our next one. So the next ones we have this thank you.
Not just when you're thanking people, though, is it?
No, it is not just a. Okay, so culturally, while people are speaking and you have it touches your heart without needing to say "Oh Siab," right? Right? They would go like that, and if they strongly agree that that's what they do, that's what they'll do with the speaker. Is that they'll just put their hands up. In regards to uplifting the speaker because they're telling the truth, right? They're also strongly agreeing with that person. And the other parts would be during speeches. You'll see some of the old, if we get lucky enough to watch some of the old footage from University of Washington, you'll see the speakers go like this at first, and then depending on what they were talking about and other things, yeah, they'll try to uplift the people, and that's what the action is they're trying to uplift the people, which is bot leech.
No.
Batlachi.
Lachi.
Boot?
Bot
Boot. Bot.
lachi. Batlachi. Ulachi.
Lachi.
It can be this way. It can be this way as long as the hands go up. And it does say palms up, but this is technically your palms are up. And it can be just as simple as this instead of being way up in the air. So the palms would be kind of facing towards you.
So what is it when
This
it's
way?
just a half
This
a
way.
one?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also see people like do this when like people are like singing and stuff, like at like New Journeys or some kind of family gathering or something like that. I see people do that when they're singing too. So is it like a prayer kind of as well, or
It can be.
It can be.
okay?
And then the O and A.
Mhm.
You didn't put it on your list.
For agreeing,
Yeah.
or you should probably put thank you, or put thank you and hands up, because that's also the thank you part, right? Is the agreeing part?
Okay, so it is also the non-spoken thank you. So this is the non-spoken thank you. So if you are
If somebody brings you a plate or a cup of, a bottle of water, you go like that, thank you. I appreciate that, right?
mhm.
And you don't have to say, thank you.
So if somebody brings you like coffee, and all you do is just be like, and then as long as they're paying attention, and they'll get it and understand. Because Chiguas is not paying attention. But in this case, we could use the Lushootseed text part with it, which would be da, or is this my older one or is this the newer one? This looks like the older one.
What's the difference between your older one and your newer one?
It shows which one it is for food and drinks and gifts, because they're all different.
Yeah, like Daha Dude, we were learning that one is you saved my life, right? It's by bringing me something to drink.
Yeah. So a lot of them, especially with these, they all have different thank yous. So if you want to look in the Lushootseed dictionary and pull out which one of these says which one, and then remember you're probably going to have to break out the word verbiage. Like S probably has this weird little symbol on it where it kind of goes down and then up beyond that first part and then levels off, which means to look to the thing to the right of it, not the thing to the left of it in the dictionary. So if you see a thing that goes like this and kind of goes like this, that means look on this side on the word, right?
Okay.
In this case, look for the word A versus the B that's in front of it, right? You'd look for the A in the dictionary rather than the B that's in it. And then with us's, it'll already have that part on there. And I don't have the keyboard to add that to the things to show you guys what to look for in the dictionary. But that's a quick way to look up words in the dictionary. And look on the Lushootseed side rather than the English side. The English side will give you all of these and it'll just say thank you. You're going to need to look up the word on this part, thank you, then go over here and figure out what it means, and look over back on the next one and look over here and figure out what that one means. They all mean different things. They all mean, they all have different ones. One's particularly food, one's particularly drink, another one's particularly for food and drink. The other one is for gift of like basketries and CIOs work. That's that stuff. And then there's that spiritual work or that prayerful thank you, which I have on this one right here. This is the one I normally use. But when I use it, I do the Tig Lushootseed. Lushootseed, right? Now, I say it this particular way, especially when I'm being thankful for everything that has been given to me. We're supposed to all be humble. We're supposed to be all in a prayerful state. So I primarily try to use Lushootseed, though I do use Daha Dubsh and Da for the particular things. I rarely use the non-spoken thank you. For me, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's not supposed to be. You know, I gotta get that English part of me taken out and get rid of that.
The colonialism.
Yeah, I got colonialized, so I'm getting scared of using this one. So, again, it's more of a non-spoken thing. We really don't have to have the words for it, but you can just as long as it's above your shoulders, it's considered up. But people get like really excited and they put their hands way up, and I'm like, that's completely fine. They're very, very thankful for it, apparently.
And it's nice you're not scared of doing it. So that's something to look up to.
Right. Because like I said, I get scared of using it. I also get scared on saying, oh, Siab, when I get moved, or hey, Siab. Or Habu for when people are telling stories. So that one is in part of our culture, and it's part of deep in our culture stuff. So as you see on this part, you will see this part right here. And this part right here is very particular soundage. You know how I keep on saying E-A or ooh-o? This particularly has very particular soundage. And this is not confirmed hypothesis, because I can't confirm this at all, is that pre-contact, because this is word verbiage that we used upriver for our saying who we are and where we're coming from, which would be a chof dit si yas e shed seat siab. This part right here that is in these parentheticals, or
That one's been on there for a while.
Yeah, I don't understand it though.
yeah, we'll come back around to that. I wanted to focus in on this last bit right here. When I used to say I was for EA. Now here, the cultural part is that we would have the people that are your audience would respond back, right? Even while you're talking, the audience is supposed to respond to you, either with a siab or habo, depending on what you're speaking, or in this case, a and o, for what you're speaking. And this one is just to show that you're paying attention, that you got the information, right? Now, particularly a in this instance was for the men to say, and o was for the females to say.
Oh,
Hey. Oh, right? Right? So masculine, the men folk would say a, and the female would say o. So in this context, when we're thinking about our language and we're thinking about pre-contact, did we use this as a marker for the masculine and feminine? Did the feminine normally go O versus oo? And did the masculine say A over E? Right? Non-confirmed, right? And all right, now we're gonna go back to that other part where I duplicated this part off. once too many times. E chof dit siayas e shed sit siab. This is also a part where we can take out in the language. So these parts here, either the dit siayas or e should siab, just siab, because this stuff is all optional. Depends on what you're going to want to use as your speaker, because when you're speaking it, you're the speaker. The audience is everybody else. Everybody else has the ability to talk while you're talking, apparently, because that's, or during the pause times on when we're talking. So again, these duplications are for focusing, getting more information. In this case, DCIIS would be my many friends and my many relatives, right? Should, right? This is indicating that this is a very large group of people that you're addressing. And this one is particularly for canoe journeys. If I were going to do this as just a regular introduction, I would cut out all of the repetitive aspects. And I would just say, chof dit siayas, ishad siab. And that's where I'd cut it. I would cut all these parts off, because the repetitive is just to announce that you're talking to a really big group of people, right? Did that answer your question?
I guess it is.
Yes. We should. Siab. And then the audience still would say A and O to that part. And actually, the audience would say A and O here as well, and given different circumstances.
So the A and the O are the response to those?
Yes.
Okay.
As an audience member, remember like how I said that I get bashful about using this as thank you instead of just saying thank you, because I say Lushootseed a lot. Mm-hmm. But I get bashful on using this one. The audience, because of the boarding school era, right? We kept a few certain little things, which is in most commonly heard is O Siam, right? In our Northern Strait Salish users. But because we adapted our languages and we added the B's and D's, it still is O Siab in the right? And in doing so, people forgot to say habo, and people are also stop using A and O while people are up there speaking, because during the boarding school era, it's be quiet, sit down, no moving, no talking, no chitter chattering while the people are speaking. The speaker you would actually be focusing in on the speaker so that you'll show them that you're paying attention to them by saying A, O, or if it moves your hutch just so much and you're like, A Siab, right? Or O Siab.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Right? And that's where those people would get up and say Osiam or Osiab. And then if they're telling a story, then that culturally you'll add in habo after every little part of the story. Wherever a period point ends is where the word, and everybody in the audience should be saying habo for a story. Or in every period of point here, you would be hearing a or o in the language. And that's just the period marker. That is for the audience to say, I'm paying attention. Yes, I am. I can, I show you guys that I'm doing it. So it is A-O. And it's not a very full sentence thing. And then that also leaves room in spaces for talks to happen, right? So that's where arguments and how arguments come out is that if there were two different separate information coming out, they would talk it out that point in time. Now, like I said, language and culture, they go hand in hand. This is information that we're getting from the language itself. Because you're looking in the dictionary, you look from the Lushootseed to English side, they will tell you a whole bunch of list of things for this one little word. And it means a lot of different things. And then adding the cultural aspects to everything. And that's how this is all getting unlocked for us to start and understand this. Because Lushootseed and the culture that of the Salishan people is that we would speak with our speakers, kind of encouragement for our speakers. What was that one encouragement? That guy who was oh Yahao. Yeah. The other one that would also be used is Yahao. For a shy, bashful speaker, they would say the person's name and then they would say Yahao. Right? Especially because that's you're giving that speaker some strength and encouragement to get on the floor and speak or get up there and speak.
Is it like saying let's get going?
you got this.
Yeah, you got this. Speak the truth, you know it, go kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh.
In this case, I'm going to pick on Molly. I'll be like, Molly, how? Wait a few moments, go, how? Until you start speaking. And then everybody would start jumping in. There'd be Norma and a Puss and everybody would eventually start being saying how, and that would encourage you in on speaking.
He's like, what?
Hey, what?
So what would be seen as heckling?
Or
is that like a different culture standard?
Kind of sounds like it a little bit.
Yeah. Heckling. I don't think there was a lot of it. And if it was definitely not spoken. Because like I said, the culture says that we need to be humble. And then if we're humble and then we're getting people up there to speak, we're not going to heckle them, right?
Yeah. It made me think, like, when you're saying how, like, to get someone to speak, like, if they're too embarrassed to speak at some point, it could be like embarrassing to them, you know?
Yeah. Well, and then you get the whole audience to get you up there, right? You'll eventually get up there if everybody in the audience will encourage you to go. And again,
It's the encouragement portion. The heckling part is, especially when you're asked to do something, you're not supposed to say no. This is the part, and then when this is the part that's a lot different for culturally, because you're not supposed to say no. And when you get up and do something, you do it with your heart. You do it with a good heart and a good mind. And we expect people who get up and speak to be speaking from their heart, speaking in a prayerful mode, and speaking with a good heart and mind. And you're not going to disrespect that by heckling. We're just encouraging them to not be backwards, because you can't be saying no either.
I think that's a good distinction to make, because when you say it as encouragement, it's not supposed to be embarrassing.
Yeah, it is definitely supposed to be
Supportive.
supportive and encouraging for the people to get up and start speaking. I'm looking for my book that has the word verbiage on it.
I've been riding his bike.
By himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I also feel like that is where like the emotion part would possibly tie in. Like, whereas you can say like I'm feeling a bit embarrassed or like something like that, you know?
And even with that, I mean, you what I hear in response when I speak like that, I hear them to tell that I hear them to tell you, so it's okay to feel scared. There's nothing wrong with feeling those emotions, but what you need to start praying about is making sure that your mind and your heart is strong, so you can say what needs to be said.
Oh, okay.
So it's good to do that, because you never know who's going to be the one to give you the encouragement when you need it. So it's important to say those feelings when you have them,
Mm-hmm.
and to talk about it. So then you'll start feeling the encouragement in the language. You know?
Yeah.
So not only is it encouraging, it's supposed to be uplifting too. Like uplifting of the spirit.
Eh. Hob. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Oh. All right. Yeah, that's right. So these are all the things that we would say at the end of the speaker when they're speaking. So this one is if it touch art, you would say this. And story. All right. So like I said, standard saying, what if you do get a chance to listen to group conversations on when our ancestors would be talking in a big group, and you will hear, if you pay attention, hey, oh, oh, eh, oh, and you'll hear that in the background on when they're talking. And then if the words touch them, so you would hear hey Siab or oh Siam, right? And that's what you'd hear in the background. And then if they're telling a story, the word that you'll hear at the end of every sentence is habo. And you will definitely hear that on a lot of the old storytelling videos, is that you're engaging the audience. The audience is telling you that you have their attention. Right? You're paying attention to the speaker, you're paying attention to the activities and on what's being said, and it helps taking in the information. It does help, because I tried listening to our elders on the computer and things, and I started mimicking their actions, and I was able to understand a lot better having these period points for the audiences to speak. So if you try, and you'll start getting and understanding it better, especially when presentations or something's going on. And then if you really agree with what they're saying, or stuff like that, we got to get rid of our English, our colonialized train of thought. We got to get that out of our head, and then put it away, because the difference in culture is completely different, right? And this is where it comes out, is in when people talk, or people tell stories, or even if there's a speech going on, people would talk, and then the act of encouragement happens. Is there any other questions on this? We good?
No.
No? No boat?
Wait.
Wait!
Wait. The T and C. What is that all about with the Sada? With that before the hubbo?
For your name.
Oh, okay. So remember how I said masculine and feminine, right?
Yeah.
So T is definitely man, and C is woman.
Ah, I like C. C sounds better. Alrighty. That was
Remember how bo is only used for stories. I wrote here just to show that that's the end point for every sentence. So in this case, you would say Molly Seedsta, right? And these two words would combine. This would combine with this, or this, because mine is Sehuash Teed Sta.
Oh, that's why it was throwing me off when I was trying to read it. It's one word. I was like, see, there's something missing. It's connected to the other side.
Yeah. The D is possessive. It's your possessive D.
Possessive.
This is my drink, no one else's. Right? Very possessive. And then the T in C is at this masculine or feminine. Now, a guy can say C if he sees himself as feminine. So that is the choice of the speaker. And that's where I'm saying there's a lot of choices for the speaker to use, for him or her to use whatever they want to use. And sta is my name.
Da.
So Sehua, masculine, mine, name.
We were into pronouns.
Is that better? Tobo? See, Atse Stalbufched. Hey, oh, yep. Anyway, it's seed seed skoy. So again, when you hear me say seed and then skoy is mother, right?
One second, sorry. Hello? Oh, bye.
Sorry, yep, anyway,
Uh,
seed sta.
yep, anyway.
Seed. I keep on saying seed, but it's not seed. It's just seed sta.
See,
Ata
the
seed
seed,
skoy.
koi.
But it would be written this way. I don't get how it's written that way, but it would make more sense to put it with the other one.
Seed, the
Ata, si, no, si, good.
You will also say here all to you will also hear all ta for our southern Lushootseed users.
Oh, yes.
So all ta, are all seed, skoy.
seed, the all seeds, seeds.
You will also hear the all. So depending on where you're at, how you're speaking, this will be your southern Lushootseed users. I hear all a lot. All seed, skoy, all teed, bod. Yeah, you'll still hear all instead of utta, right? Utta is definitely a northern saying. In this instance, and if because my mom sock swaddle, sock bu utsista bu seed skoy. Sock swaddle people, my mother is from, right? My mom's from Soxlattle. The same thing would happen with your father. So yellow came it teed all teed bod. So yep Bedouin is the name of my father, right?
Yellow came
Or yellow came it is the name of my father. Yep, wait. Sorry, Dad. It's not right. Yellow came in. Is the name of my father, right? And that's how it comes out to. And then in this instance, Sisiste Wapentin Oyete Teed Bod. So you would replace this whole front part with Sisiste Wapentin Oyete, because Oyete means the people of Sisiste, right? And Wapentin.
Make a note. So you could use it.
Oh, yeah, they.
Yeah.
Sisiste Wapentin Oyete. All right. And then Teed Bod. My dad is from Sisiste Sioux. And you'll change that however it is. It doesn't have to be Utsistabio. It could be Seattle Teed Bod. My dad's from Seattle. No. Doesn't have to be very specific. Swidubs.
Swinimus.
Now, this next one, Eslafil Chud Alta Sak Buch, or Tulal Chud Utta Sak Buch. I come from Soxwaddle. I think that needs to get moved up. All right. In this case, yes, Stospum Seedsta All Tud Kaya. In this case, I am saying my grandmother's deceased. So there is a specific word for a living grandmother and a deceased grandmother, right? And in this case, my grandmother is deceased, and it would be Stospum Seedsta Tud Kaya, right? My Catherine Brown or Catherine Joseph is the name of my deceased grandmother.
Oh. Very top. I was looking in the middle, like I was all kinds of confused for a second. Okay.
In this instance, Molly, you can say, what is Kathy's name? Stospum Seedsta Seed Kaya, right? You can say Kaya because still your grandmother's still living.
So just to make the distinction when we start talking about Chabu.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey.
Because it goes from grandma to grandfather down to great grandmother, great grandfather. Yeah. Oh, we don't have the time.
We don't have the time.
We don't have the time. You guys squandered a whole hour away with me. Is there any comments, concerns, questions, sayings?
Oh, actually, yes. Okay, so you said I'm not sure. I might have just thought this, but so on my list, there's good. Is there such thing as great or like excellent or that was something I was wondering.
So die.
Hi.
Very good.
I like it. Okay.
Die hard. Excellent.
Okay. Oh.
Die.
It's a E. It's a glottal at the end of that.
That's what it says.
Ooh.
Now that I've been saying it without the glottal.
So that's how it is. Dai hak.
Right?
Excellent. So look underneath the chat box. Yeah, I don't know how to spell apparently. No. All right, how do you? Okay, never mind. Never mind. I got it.
Time does the bank close up down?
4.
Or
So
it's
dai
8
hak.
o'clock now?
Excellent.
Too
Very
old.
good.
Oh, too old.
Piglet
Thank you, Seed.
Boy.
Oh, we're doing that. Yay. Bye.
Comments, concerns, questions, Derek? Did we make your language difficult?
I mean, it's a little different from Southern. I don't know. I think because I'm Sakswaro too, like I like to, like you said, it's all up to the speaker. So I think I switch. I think I speak both Southern and Northern sometimes at the same time. But but you said for the something I was wondering, I just wanted to clarify was for the you said because when we're talking about speaking to a group, you said that the audience will respond. Is it like is it in the culture to for the speaker to like give pauses for the audience to respond?
Yes, yes. Very good question. It is normal and culturally appropriate to even talk. You know the sloth from Zootopia?
No.
No? Okay. So just think of a sloth, how they move very, very slow, right?
What about that monotone professor? That was another one that they do. That was like done a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Where they
Yeah.
talk slow.
Today in history,
Yeah.
we have discovered the pen. I don't know. He had a very monotone and he spoke very, very slow. And he ended up having the same thing as the sloth guy from Zootopia. I wouldn't suggest to go off and buy it, but if you got Disney Plus, go ahead and watch Zootopia. You'll see this Flash, the 100-yard dash. Flash, he speaks really slow, and that's how culturally you need to speak. The slower you can speak with the best enunciation for people to hear you. In this case, a cha. D C I S E should see Siab. And then you hear that pause, and then that's when people would respond to that. The slower you speak, the better off you are with your pronunciation being as accurate as it can be. But people nowadays, because we added in our colonized stuff, we go chof ditsias
Yeah. We're rushed in this culture.
Yeah, the colonized life, we rush hardcore. But we still have to.
Not been able to cash them.
We still got to add that pause in the language for people to respond to that.
Okay.
And like I said, there's more than just one. It's like oh at the end of it. It can be siab or depending on what context on what is being spoken.
Okay.
Yeah, I also had another question about like drawing out the words to add emphasis. But I forget why I thought of that.
Most emphasized letters in not all cases. There are some special occasions where you want to overemphasize a non-vowel, but almost all the vowels can get emphasized. So you look at die, hak, right? I emphasize the die, right? The I, die.
Like the example I think of is like alturi tu hak. You know, just say like a super long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say die, does that mean like super very good?
Die, hak. Yeah.
Okay.
Context. It's all the context of our of what we're discussing.
Okay. Well, equity safe
Sehwa.
equity hoi.
All right. That takes it for today, folks. Like, comment, subscribe, do the thing with the whoop-de-doos. Use the language.